Welcome to part 4. To recap part 3, there was a new animal coming to the Big Top Mall and Video Arcade. It was a baby elephant, so Stella was correct in her assumption that there was a baby elephant coming to the mall. And the baby elephant's name is Ruby. So, part 4. Here we go. Even after Julia and her father leave, I try to keep sulking, but it's no use. You see, gorillas are not, by nature, pouters. Stella, I call. It's a full moon. Did you see? Sometimes when we are lucky, we catch a glimpse of the moon through the skylight of the food court. I did, Stella says. She's whispering, though, and I didn't realize Ruby must be asleep. Is, Ruby all right? I ask. She's too thin, Ivan. Poor baby. She was in that truck for days. Mac brought her from a circus, the same way he bought me. But she hadn't been there long. She was born in the wild, like us. Will she be okay, I ask? Stella doesn't answer my question. The circus trainers chained her to the floor, Ivan. All 4 feet. 23 hours a day. I puzzle over why this would be a good idea. I always try to give humans the benefit of the doubt. Why would they do that, I finally ask. To break her spirit, Stella says. So she could learn to balance on a pedestal. So she could stand on her hind legs. So she could do tricks. I heard her tired voice and think of all the tricks Stella has learned. When I awake the next morning, I see a little trunk poking out between the bars of Stella's domain. Hello, says a small, clear voice. I'm Ruby, and she waves her trunk. Hi, I'm Ivan. Are you a monkey? Ruby asks. Certainly not. Bob's ears perk up, although his eyes stay closed. He's a gorilla, he says, and I'm a dog of uncertain heritage. Why did the dog climb on your tummy? Ruby asks. Because it's there, Bob murmurs. Is Stella awake? I ask. Aunt Stella's sleeping, Ruby says. Her foot is hurting, I think. Ruby turns her head. Her eyes are like Stella's, black and long-lashed. When is breakfast? She asks. Soon, I say, when the mall opens up and the workers come. Where are the other elephants? Ruby asks. It's just you and Stella, I say, and for some reason I feel we have let her down. Are there more of you? Not, I say, at the moment. Ruby picks up a piece of hay and considers it. Do you have a mom and a dad? Well, I used to. Everyone has parents, Bob explains. It's unavoidable. Before the circus, I used to live with my mom, my aunts and my sisters and my cousins, Ruby says. She drops the hay and picks it back up. But they're dead now. I don't know what to say. I'm not really enjoying this conversation at all, but to be polite, I just say, I'm sorry to hear that, Ruby. Humans killed them, she says. Who else? Bob asks, and we all fall silent. All morning, Stella strokes Ruby, pats her, smells her. They flap their ears, they rumble and roar. They sway as if they're dancing. Ruby clings to Stella's tail. She slips under Stella's belly. Sometimes they lean into each other, their trunks twirled together like jungle vines. Stella looks happy. It's more fun to watch than any nature show I've seen on TV. George and Mac are out by the highway. I can see that one of them is out of my window. They're next to each other on the tall wooden ladders, leaning against the giant billboard outside. George has a bucket and a long-handled broom. Mac has a piece of paper. He slaps it on the billboard. George dips the broom in the bucket and wets the paper with the liquid, and somehow the paper stays in place on the billboard. They put up many pieces before they are done. When they climb down from the ladders, I see they've added a picture of a little elephant to the billboard. The elephant has a lopsided smile. She's wearing a red hat, and her tail curls like a pig's. She doesn't look like a Ruby. She doesn't even look like an elephant. I've only known Ruby one day, and I could have drawn her better. Ruby asks a lot of questions. She says, Ivan, why is your tummy so big? And have you ever seen a green giraffe? And can those pink clouds that the humans are eating, can we have some? When Ruby asks, what's on your wall, I explain that it's a jungle. She says the flowers have no scent and the waterfalls no water. I'm aware of that. I say, it's art. A picture made with paint. Do you know how to make art? Ruby says. Yeah, I do, I say, and I puff out my chest, but just a little. I've always been an artist. I love drawing. Why do you love it? Ruby asks. I pause. Never really answered that question before. When I'm drawing a picture, I feel quiet inside. Ruby frowns. Quiet is boring. Not always. Ruby scratches the back of her head. What do you draw anyways? Bananas, mostly. Things in my domain. My drawings sell at the gift store for $25 a piece, with a frame. What's a frame? What's a dollar? What's a gift store? I close my eyes. I'm kind of sleepy, Ruby. You ever driven a truck before? Ruby asks. I don't answer. Ivan, can Bob fly? A memory flashes past, surprising me. I then think of my own father, snoring peacefully under the sun while I try every trick I know to wake him. Perhaps I realize he wasn't really that sound of a sleeper after all. How's that foot, old girl? George asks Stella. Stella pokes her trunk between the bars and inspects George's right shirt pocket for a treat he brings her every night without fail. George doesn't always bring me treats. Stella's his favorite. But I don't mind. She's my favorite too. Stella sees that George's pocket is empty. She gives George a frustrated nudge with her trunk, and Julia giggles. Stella moves from George's left pocket and discovers a carrot. Nimbly, she removes it. Mac walks past. Toilet's plugged in the men's bathroom. Big mess. I'll take care of it, George sighs. Mac turns to leave. Before you go, though, Mac says, you might want to take a look at Stella's foot. I think it's infected again. Darn thing never does heal up right. Mac rubs his eyes. I'll keep an eye on it. Money's tight, though. Can't be calling the vet every time she sneezes. George strokes Stella's trunk. She inspects his pockets just one more time, just in case. Sorry, girl, George says as he watches Mac anyway. Ivan? Bob? I blink. The sky is a smudge of gray flecked and pink, like a picture drawn in with crayons. I can just make out Ruby in the shadows. Are you awake? Ruby asks. We are now, says Bob. Aunt Stella's asleep, and I don't want to wake her because she said her foot was hurting. But I'm bored. Bob opens an eye. You know what I do when I'm bored? What? Says Ruby. I sleep. It's a little early, Ruby, I say. I'm used to getting up early. At my old circus, we always got up when it was still dark, and then we had breakfast, and then we walked in a circle, and then they chained my feet, and that really hurt. Ruby falls silent. Instantly, Bob is snoring. Ivan, Ruby asks, do you know any jokes? I especially like jokes about elephants. Well, let me see. I heard Mac tell one once. How can you tell that an elephant has been in a refrigerator? How? By the footprints in the butter. Ruby doesn't react. I sit on my elbows, trying not to disturb Bob. Get it? Oh, it's a refrigerator, Ruby asks. It's a human thing, a cold box at the door. They put food inside. They put food in a door? The box? Ruby asks. I can see this is going to take a while, so I sit all the way up. Bob slides off, grumbling. I reach for a pencil that I snapped in half with my teeth. Here, I'll draw you a picture of one. There in the dim light, it takes me a minute to find a piece of paper Julia gave me. The page is a little damp, and it has a smear of something on it. I think it's from a tangerine. I try my best to make a refrigerator. The broken pencil's not cooperating, but I do what I can. By the time I'm done, the first streaks of morning sun have appeared. I hold up my picture for Ruby to see. She studies it intently. Her head turns so that one black eye is trained on my drawing. Wow, you made art. Is this thing you were telling me about before? Art? Sure is. I can draw all kinds of stuff. Can you draw a banana right now? Ruby asks. Absolutely. I turn the paper over and sketch. Wow, that looks good enough to eat, says Ruby. She makes a happy little sound, an elephant laugh. It's like the song of a bird I recall from long ago. A tiny yellow bird with a voice like dancing water. Strange. I'd forgotten all about that bird. How she'd wake me every morning at dawn when I still curled to safety in my mother's nest. It's a good feeling, making Ruby laugh. So I draw another picture, and another. All on the edges of the paper, an orange, a candy bar, a carrot. What are you two up to? Stella asks, moaning as she tries to move her sore foot. How are you this morning? I ask. I just feeling my age, says Stella, but I'm fine. Ivan's making me pictures, Ruby says, and he told me a joke. I like Ivan, Aunt Stella. Stella winks at me. Me too. Ivan, want to hear my favorite joke? Ruby asks. I heard it from Maggie. She's one of the giraffes in my old circus. Sure do, I say. It goes like this. Ruby clears her throat. What do elephants have that nothing else has? Trunks, I think. But I don't answer, because I don't want to ruin Ruby's fun. I don't know, Ruby. What do elephants have that nothing else has? Baby elephants, Ruby says. Ah, good one, Ruby, I say, watching Stella stroke Ruby's back with her trunk. Good one, Stella says softly. Once, I asked Stella if she had any babies of her own. She shook her head. I never had the opportunity. Well, you would have made a great mother, I told her. Thanks, Ivan. I like to think so. Having babies is a big responsibility. You have to teach them how to take mud baths and, of course, emphasize the importance of fiber in their diet. She looked away, contemplating. Elephants are always excellent at contemplating. I think the hardest part of being a parent, Stella said, is protecting them. The way silverbacks do in a jungle, I said. Exactly, Stella nodded. You would have been good at protecting too, I said, confidently. I'm not sure so sure, she said. I'm not so sure at all. Mac and George are chatting while George cleans one of my windows. George, Mac says, frowning, there's something wrong in the parking lot. George sighs. I'll take a look as soon as I'm done with the window. What's the problem? There are cars in it. That's what's wrong. Cars, George. Mac breaks into a grin. I think business is gonna pick up here. It's got to be that billboard. People see that baby elephant, and they just have to stop. I sure hope so. We could use the business. Mac's right. I have noticed more visitors coming ever since he and George added that picture of Ruby to the sign. People crowd around Ruby and Stella's domain, oohing and on to the sight of such a tiny elephant. I gaze out at the huge sign that makes humans stop and spend their money. I have to admit, picture Ruby's rather cute, even if she doesn't really look like a real elephant. I wonder if Mac could add a little red hat and curly tail to picture of me. Maybe then more visitors would stop by my domain. I could use a few oohs and ahs myself sometimes. Ivan, tell me another joke, please. Ruby begs after the 2 o'clock show. I think I ran out of jokes, I admit. A story then, Ruby says. Aunt Stella's sleeping and there's nothing to do. I tap my chin. I'm mesmerized, but I can't think of anything. Ruby taps her foot impatiently. Wait a minute. I know. How about I tell you a story? A real, live, true one. Good idea. What's it about? It's about me. Ruby lowers her voice. It's about me and how I fell into a hole. A big hole that humans dug. Bob perks his ears and joins me by the window. I always enjoy a good digging story, he says. And then we'll probably do Ruby's story at the start of part 5. So that's going to end part 4. Go ahead, close out, log into Schoology, finish up part 4. Look for anything else you have to do for the day. Other than that, I'll see you tomorrow morning bright and early.